Alright, what's up guys? In tonight's video we're doing the biggest winners and losers for rounds 1 through 3, and we're going to go through each team and kind of discuss what I thought about each pick at the time, about where we would grade their draft, and with 32 teams to dive into guys, let's just dive right in. So with the Cardinals, we know they're not going to seriously compete for at least a year, and I really like the process of them moving back from pick 33 to 41, and for them to get a developmental guy in BJ Ojulari, who is very young and a guy that's not going to hit his peak for probably the next 2 or 3 years while still contributing. I really like this selection, and of course I like Paris on night 1 and Garrett Williams too. Now you may be wondering as this video comes out about picks 94 and 96. I am recording now while the 88th and 89th picks are going to get this out in time, so there will be a little bit of a written piece for notable picks between then and the end of the third round. So I love what the Cardinals are doing, and in terms of building a roster, they are a big winner. Atlanta, very much a big winner as well. Now, not everyone's going to be a big winner, of course, but Bijan Robinson, Matthew Bergeron, guys, they're going to pound the beef. They're pretty much saying, like, we're going to run the ball down your throat. Good luck trying and stopping it. So Bergeron maybe a little early, and I think they could have stayed where they were to take him rather than trade up. But look, if he's your guy, go get him. So the Atlanta Falcons, they are big winners as well. Now the Baltimore Ravens, they did not have a second round pick due to the Roquan Smith trade. So Zay Flowers, Trenton Simpson, I think this is a good start to the class for them. And with the selection of Trenton Simpson, I think this kind of signals that Patrick Queen, a 2020 first round pick, is not going to re-sign. So you could say the Patrick Queen kind of future departure is kind of a loss, but I'm not going to focus on that. Trenton Simpson and Zay Flowers are two very, very good football players. Next up, the Buffalo Bills. Guys, this is simple here. Dalton Kincaid, O'Cyrus Torrence. To me, these are two A+ picks. I don't care that says a C next to Dalton Kincaid. We discussed last night, Travis Kelce. You've seen him destroy your team at times, whether it's in the postseason or a big regular season game. I absolutely love both picks, and you put up 10 points in a home playoff game last year against the Bengals. You get O'Cyrus Torrence, a player that was falling in the draft, who if you took him with your first round pick, I wouldn't have hated it. Absolutely love that for the Bills. So a lot of winners so far, but aside from the Bryce Young pick, I'm not a huge fan of what the Panthers have done. I like Jonathan Mingo as a prospect, but at 39 with Josh Downs, who was on the board till pick 79, I wasn't a big fan of the selection, and I thought they could have even traded back a little bit given how many teams were trading up to really reacquire some picks that they've obviously dealt elsewhere given they only have 5 picks in this draft. So the Panthers, they get their franchise quarterback, which is a win, but other than that, I'm not a big fan. DJ Johnson, I'm not a fan of at all in the third round. Hopefully he proves me wrong, and for anybody else that I dislike the pick of, mainly it's because of the value standpoint. I hope they prove me wrong too, but I'm not a fan of what the Panthers have done outside of Bryce Young. And I like Jonathan Mingo, just didn't like the value there on Mingo. So next up is the Chicago Bears, and this draft for them is all about beef. And these are picks that are not going to be quote-unquote sexy by any means, but I like what they're doing, and Ryan Poles saw his team on both sides of the ball get beat last year, like physically beat down on both sides of the ball. So I really like what they're doing, and they had the number 1 overall pick for a reason. So I do think Chicago is a winner, and of course you have to factor in they had 2 second round picks, and not only that, but they also have another number 1 next year and a number 2 next year as well. So Chicago, I think they are winners of the draft. And in terms of winners, not the big winner, but they have done a good job. Now in terms of bang for your buck, I don't know if there's more than what the Cincinnati Bengals could do with their first 2 picks, and they're a couple of picks away in real time as I record this, so we might get that in. Again, there will be a written piece at the end, but Myles Murphy and DJ Turner, guys, I cannot emphasize enough how much I love this pick. And anybody that was on the live for the second round when DJ Turner was made, Cincinnati getting a kid from the team up north, as a lot of Bengals fans would probably refer to DJ's college as, absolutely love it. DJ Turner, Daxton Hill, Myles Murphy, these are picks that they've invested in the past 2 years with top 60 picks. So I absolutely love it, and I love what the Bengals are doing. And as I record this, Darnell Washington has not been drafted, so there's still a chance that they could get him. So love what the Bengals are doing in the draft and in terms of how they could possibly get to win a Super Bowl rather than just get to the Super Bowl. Next up, Cleveland Browns, only one pick so far. Cedric Tillman was a hell of a pick for them, though. I think Cedric Tillman was one of the most underrated receivers in the draft. Personally, I had him 7 on my board, but the description says itself. Ultra physical, nasty, back shoulder rebounder type. You have to build your receiving room. So I love the Browns' only pick, and that's obviously the only one we can talk about so far, and I would even be willing to give that an A grade. So I don't think it's a B+. I think that is an A grade for the Cleveland Browns with their only pick of the draft. Next up, the Dallas Cowboys. I was a little underwhelmed with this one, I got to be honest. Mozzie Smith, I like that pick. Luke Shoemaker, though, I was not a fan of at all. I didn't think the value added up, and I thought they could have very easily traded out. And we'll get to another team soon that traded up to take a tight end, which I was not a fan of. And if Luke was your guy, I really think you could have traded back 8 or 10 picks and still got him. So to a degree, I respect getting your guy, but the value wasn't there for me. I don't think Luke Shoemaker was anywhere close to the 58th best player in this class, and I was pretty underwhelmed with Dallas's class, and I think they would be in the bottom 10 of terms of draft classes so far. I was just pretty underwhelmed. And again, please prove me wrong, Luke, but I was just underwhelmed with that. Now, with the Broncos' first pick, they had 67 and 68. They traded up. I love what they've done so far. I really do. Marvin Mims, Drew Sanders, and Riley Moss. In the pre-draft process, we talked about the Denver Broncos simply getting good football players, and they've done that so far with their first 3 picks. So they're not going to pick for a while on day 3, but with this team, you have to worry about just simply acquiring talent. How can we beat the Chargers? How can we beat the Chiefs? And we're taking steps in the right direction. So I like what the Broncos did so far with their picks. Now, a pick I am going to I couldn't stand on the live. People saw it on the live. I couldn't stand it. I could not stand the Sam Laporta pick because of value. This was directly before Michael Mayer, and some people were asking in the live if this has Jalen Reagor, Justin Jefferson potential in terms of that. While I'm not overreacting and saying that much because it's we're going to be a whole quarterback situation and everything, I don't understand taking Sam Laporta above Michael Mayer. And for everybody that criticized the hell out of Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell on the opening night, they had a chance to right the wrong and didn't with Laporta. Now, they did with Branch, and I like that selection, but Sam Laporta was just incredibly underwhelming when Michael Mayer falls to 34, slaps you in the face, and you take Sam Laporta. Hendon Hooker, developmental guy. It's a 3rd-round lottery pick. The Lions still have a lot of picks to go. They still have 4 on day 3, so I'm not going to get too much into that. If Hendon works out for them, great, but by the time he would even become a starter for them, he'll be 27 years old. So if Hendon works out, great, but I was really disappointed with the Sam Laporta pick. And I got to be honest, I like the Lions class overall, but the Sam Laporta one over Michael Mayer was baffling. Next up, Green Bay Packers. I mean this truly in the best way. They've had a very Packers class. I like Musgrave and Kraft as prospects. I didn't really like Musgrave at 42. I didn't really like Jayden Reed at 50. And what I mean by when I say they have a Packers class, chances are they're going to work out. They're going to be solid players. But Jayden Reed, I loved him. He was a draft crush of mine, ironically, as well as the written piece of Jayden Reed says in this. But I thought Jayden Reed was going to be taken early on day 3, not in the top 50, not above Josh Downs and Cedric Tillman. So I think the Packers have 4 key contributors here, especially with Lucas Van Ness being a solid starter. But solid class. I would put it's just a solid class that a couple years from now I think we're just going to look at and say, you know what, the Packers had a good 2023 draft. Now, this, I don't understand what the Texans are doing here with rounds 2 and 3. I mean, I get Juice to a degree. He's a very smart player, plenty of experience, but in the back end of the second round, I didn't understand. Tank Dell, I'm also not a fan of. Houston has a lot of picks to, get better, but I wasn't a fan of Juice in the late second, and I wasn't a fan of Tank Dell either. So I like C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson. Of course, they are, going to be draft winners if C.J. Stroud works out because of, selecting a franchise quarterback. And Will Anderson, I like him too, but I was underwhelmed with their second and third round. Next up, the Indianapolis Colts. I got to be honest, guys, I love their draft. Love it. Anthony Richardson, he's, of course, a wild card, but, they have everything in place to make him work. So I love AR, love Julius Brents, love Josh Downs, especially with the value with Josh Downs. So love what the Colts are doing, and they continue to have a good draft. Now, the Jags, guys, this one is, I'm underwhelmed. Just another one I'm underwhelmed. Brenton Strange, I thought they traded up to get him. I thought they could have stayed in the third round and got him. I like Brenton Strange as a developmental pick, but 61 overall is, like I said, just underwhelming. And that's after you traded back twice to get Anton Harrison and pass on Brian Branch. Just underwhelming draft for the Jags. And to take a backup running back in the third round, I'm not going to kill that one because of how volatile the running back position is, but I'm just a little underwhelmed with the Jags class. Let's keep it going here. Kansas City Chiefs, and we're going to speed these up here. The Chiefs are on the clock as I make this pick, so I think I'm actually going to come back to this one. But Felix and Adike Uzama and Rashee Rice liked both of the picks. Would have preferred Josh Downs to Rashee Rice, but I did like both of those picks. So we will come back to the Chiefs, and we're actually going to go right to the Chargers. I love this class. Love this class. Quentin Johnston, Tuli Tuipulotu, Dion Henley. Love what they're doing. Tom Telesco, the general manager, love what you're doing. Keep it up. And the Chargers, as of right now, I think they are pretty solid winners. Los Angeles Rams. Matt Stafford was sacked 29 times in 2022, 30 times in 2021. You had to do something. I'm so glad they got Steve Avila, and I'm so glad they got Byron Young and Kobe Turner too. They are doing what they needed to. They need to get big in the trenches. They can't be bullied. And Steve Avila has the guard and center flexibility, which is key because they're thin along the offensive line. So like the Rams pick quite a bit. Las Vegas Raiders, to me, huge winners. Huge winners. You get after the quarterback with Tyree Wilson. Michael Mayer falls into your lap. You take him. You traded Darren Waller this offseason. You had to replace him. How do you do it? Michael Mayer. Love it. Byron Young, one of my favorite prospects in the draft because I think he's going to be a steady Eddie. I love what he brings to the table, and I think he's going to be a solid player for several years. Miami, two good picks. Track team, love Devon Achane. Like the value for Cam Smith. And like I said, we are going to kind of speed these along here. The Vikings traded back, so unfortunately I don't have any knowledge of their other third-round pick at this point in time. Like Jordan Addison, by the way. Patriots, another draft that I absolutely love. Christian Gonzalez, Keon White, and Marty Mapu. Love what they're doing there. And I think Bill is actually killing this draft, unlike what he has done in previous drafts. The Saints, I wasn't a fan of with Brzee and Foskey as their first two picks, especially Foskey because they had Nolan Smith fall into their lap at pick 29 when he went to the Eagles. So you let the Eagles get Nolan Smith when you had edge on your board. They didn't walk into day two saying, we need an edge. Why not take Nolan Smith on day one when he, again, falls into your lap? So, let's keep it rolling here. New York Jets. Like Joe Tippmann, Will McDonald, I didn't think the value was there. It's an okay draft. I like a lot what they've done over the past few years. Kind of just on the Jets draft right now, but not too crazy, not too hot on it. New York Giants, a lot of people were asking for this last night. Love Deonte Banks, love John Michael Schmitz, love Jalen Hyatt, love what the Giants are doing in the first three rounds. I think they are very big winners. Brian Daboll and Joe Shane needed to get talent, and they're doing exactly that. Speaking of big winners, guys, the Philadelphia Eagles just continue to be big winners. I mean, they kill the draft every year. Howie is a menace at the draft. He keeps doing it. And Omar Khan, great draft here. Broderick Jones, Joey Porter, Keanu Benton, they are on the clock as I record this. But I love what the Steelers are doing. So, again, Steelers are big winners too. And the Seahawks, I love their first round. I did not love their second round. Derek Hall I thought was a reach. Charbonnet, I really didn't understand with Kenneth Walker there, but I guess you need you always need another running back because of how volatile the position is, but I really didn't get the Seahawks second round. For as much as up as I was in the Seahawks first round, I was really down on the Seahawks second round. So the Chiefs took tackle Wanya Morris, Oklahoma. Solid pick. There's not a lot more you can say to that. Third round developmental guy. He started 27 of 36 career games at Oklahoma, and he was a 2019 SEC All-Freshman at Tennessee. So solid pick for the Chiefs. Hopefully he becomes a starter. But now we're on to the 49ers. They have one pick at this point in time. Liked the Jair Brown pick. Magnet to the football. Love that description for Jair Brown, and I actually like the value the Vikings got back in that trade. So there's only one pick to discuss. Not a lot to say. The Bucs. Like Kalijah Kancey, actually really love Kalijah Kancey. Love Cody Mauch for where they got him, at least. Actually, let me back that up. There were some other tackles that I liked on the board better than Mauch, and he's going to go to the guard position. So I wanted them to take Osiris Torrance, but I like the versatility Mauch has. Yaya Diaby like that as well. And in terms of building the Bucs class, I like the... how they're going about building the trenches. Because I don't think they're going to compete seriously this year, but in 2024, if they do, the trenches are already there. So, Tennessee Titans, Will Levis, the mayonnaise man himself. I think it's a good fit for them. They get Peter Skoronski, and of course they have Derrick Henry, Treylon Burks. I like the Titans offense, and even if Derrick Henry starts to decline, they brought in Tyjae Spears. So I like what the Titans are doing, and I have no problem trading up to get who you presume to be your franchise quarterback in Will Levis. All right, Washington Commanders. I like the thought process with their first two picks. Jatavius Martin, Emmanuel Forbes, you got to go secondary to beat the teams in your division. Devonta Smith, CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown. You have to stop those guys. How do you do that? Secondary. So I like what the Commanders are doing. I personally would have preferred Christian Gonzalez to Emmanuel Forbes, but if you enjoyed, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, as it would mean the world and be very much appreciated. The link for my Twitter is in the bio, so is the link for the Patreon. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Check it out, and until next time, be safe and have a great rest of your day. Love you guys.